Hey everybody, what's up and welcome back to the channel with some more Flames of War, or in this case actually Clash of Steel, which is Battlefront / Gale Force 9's new sort of post-World War II expansion, sort of kind of like a 1946, 1947-ish. What would have happened if some of these crazier and wackier tank designs had really actually come into production and been employed, as opposed to essentially more or less getting to the prototype stage. So things like the Mouse, the Tortoise, and others like the T-95 for the Americans, and other sort of crazy heavies like the Soviets had plenty of. So they've come out with this game, kind of weird timing too, between this and Warlord's new sort of tank war, although that's more focusing on just actual World War II tanks and mainly tank combat. This is, again, employing some of these wackier and weirder designs in sort of a continuation of World War II. And again, also just purely tank based, so no infantry or anything like that. So it's the new hotness that's going to be out. They basically gave these away as swag, or part of the swag bags in Adepticon this year. So it's kind of cool just to have these a little bit early, but at some point these should be hitting shelves if they haven't already. So we're going to dive into this. This is a pretty damn big box for you guys. So there's lots in here, 17 tanks in here, but plenty of just stuff as well. Lots of goodies here. So we'll get this open for you guys and we'll kind of show you everything inside. Alrighty guys, so opening the box kind of presents you here, so it's a mountain of plastic to get through. So there's lots of tigers and I think king tigers as well, but the cool thing that we're going to be digging for, which I think is right over here, is the Mouse. We saw one as a prototype, I think, at the 2023 Adepticon, so it makes sense now as to why they were showing stuff like that off. So things that we're already familiar with, and again, the Germans here in the already sort of tan plastic. So it looks like these are a couple of Tiger 1s. Tiger 2 here. If you're familiar with the turret design and all that, they tend to jump out a little bit already. So again, we're going to go relatively brief here just on the things that we've already seen that already have a actual plastic release as far as regular Flames of War goes. So again, Tiger 2's there. Some of the British things next. Again, we're just kind of going in order here. So I think this Brits actually, in some sense, get kind of the cooler part of the box because all of their tanks are essentially new for the game, or for the system overall. Except for, I think, the Comet was already an actual like Flames of War kit. But we get that digging away here. But we get all kinds of goodness in here. So we're just digging through here initially. So we get to some more German goodies. But again, plenty of British tanks as well. So I think the Brits get 9 to the 8 for the Germans is roughly the breakdown. Yeah. So the Comet's a little smaller as far as the sprue goes. There we go. There is the big chunky Tortoise for the Brits. Gives you an idea of the size too. So neat stuff there. Oh, Germans do get some of the Panzer IV 70s. Looks like a trio of those. More Brit tanks here. Oh, and then they do actually get, they're kind of lucky. The reason I was saying earlier that they kind of get the better part of the box in a certain sense, they get 2 Tortoises, to the Germans 1 Mouse, but again, this is the chonker of all chonkers for World War II here. So just big, beefy, chunky ridiculousness of a tank with the business end there. So we get our sprue of command figures as well for the various vehicles. Baggie here of German and Brit dice, gray and green respectively. So plenty there. Looks like we get some sort of fasteners here for probably some dials or something that we'll get to. A couple of books. This is all kind of shrink wrapped together, but let's see what we get here. So the core rules. Of course, got to have the Mouse on the cover. Looks looks like a couple other booklets in there. We'll get that open in a minute for you guys, but you get that package. Here we go. That makes sense. And then some cardboard tokens here. So with some either movement or damage dials or something along those lines. Probably something in the way of objectives without necessarily getting into it just yet. But yeah, it looks like various types of damage tokens and things like that. Probably a score tracker now that we're kind of getting a sense of this. Actually, yeah, victory points, trackers, okay. Makes sense, we're tracking it now. Camouflage tokens. Looks like some sort of like measuring tracker as well. And then finally at the bottom of the box, a little decal sheet, kind of just sitting there, a little diminutive compared to all the chunkiness of the box, but interesting one here. So we got Americans and Brits, Germans and Soviets, so they just kind of have a generic one for both box sets that are out there. So we'll be right back, guys. We're going to break open the book, the rule book contents, just to take a look at that a little bit closer for you guys. So we'll be back. Alrighty, guys, we're back and we got this open up here. So we have some cards hiding in there. So the various tactics cards. Again, we'll kind of have more of a review video down the road just to kind of give you guys an idea of what's in there. So solid deck of that. We have a little core rules pamphlet here, which is just kind of a guide on some of the basics. I love that Battlefront Gale Force 9 does this kind of stuff. Just super easy. Explains some of the key concepts and really, obviously if you've played like Flames of War and Team Yankee and stuff, you're going to be able to just dive right in and absorb the game here. It's not reinventing the wheel as far as the rule systems that they tend to use. Now the rulebook itself, a little bit bigger affair, still soft cover. Give you an idea of the size of that. Let's take a quick glance at how many pages. It looks like it's topping out at 53, so very manageable. And again, they're always really good about detailing and showing like nice colorful examples of like, this is what this does, this is what that does, this is how this and that works. So, ooh, that's a really cool picture. Obviously a bigger game since there's 1, 2, 3 mouse tanks there. 3 mice. So we'll have a separate, again, series of videos on covering the rules and things like that. But yeah, so I've been about 53 pages for the rule book itself. A couple more booklets. Like I said, there's actually a fair little bit here in this little cardboard container. So one on the German forces that are included here. So I presume, the U.S. and Soviet box will have a similar breakdown, but for those nations. But basically covering all the different vehicles that you have and some nice like background information. So one for the German forces. Again, they call this Operation Unthinkable. One for the Brits. Let's take a quick gander in there as well. Again, we'll have a more detailed look very soon for you guys. 2 different sets of assembly instructions. Usually you can pretty much figure it out without having to even consult these, but if you're new to Battlefront, Flames of War, stuff like that, you probably would want to follow them, but really you should be able to figure it out just by looking at it. But you have 2 guides as well. Another sheet of the cardboard here. So it looks like one of the objective area things is fallen out, but so you have 2 of these actually included. Kind of curious why they didn't just put all of them together. Seems like that still would have worked. And then it looks like here's where we can tell that our tactics cards kind of fell out as we're getting this open. So we have rules and mission cards as well. I like the little packaging here. Obviously, you're probably going to want to discard that at some point in whatever game transport system that you use. So different missions. The stat cards for the vehicles themselves. Oops, let's see if we can reach this first a little bit easier. So this is something new. I don't remember seeing this kind of before in something like Flames. But mission setup card, so we'll just draw one here, take a quick peek. So that's pretty neat. So it gives you instructions, quick little map to consult, super easy to figure out. So map setup tells you everything you got to do. So neat, very neat. And let's see if we can't get this to cooperate and actually pull this out. There we go. So our stat cards. Now, obviously, with some of these crazier tanks that never really made it into action, they're going to have some just monster stats. So if you guys remember from Flames years ago, like the mid-war monsters, a lot of those weren't necessarily overpowered, but still some pretty cool, unique prototype type of vehicles. So you got the Tortoise here. Front armor of 21. That's bonkers. 11 on the sides. It's got a 32-pounder anti-tank 18. Wow. Firepower 3+. Surprisingly not a 2+. Oh. Taking a look at some things here. So I'll give you an idea on points too. Looks like about 11 points apiece. So good stuff there. Got Churchill 7s included. The Centurion. I was always wondering what the stats were on that. 17-pounder. Centurion 3. 20-pounder. Comets. Challengers. Cromwells. Getting some more of the just regular World War II type of things. There we go. The star of the show. We wanted to check that out. So front 20, side 13. Craziness. Anti-tank 18 on the big 12.8 centimeter gun. 48-inch range. Still giving it a halted rate of fire of 2. And as we would expect, firepower 2 up. 8-inch move. Seems awfully fast for the old mouse. But hey, we'll take it. +1 to hit for moving rate of fire, sure. And super expensive, yep, 13 points a piece. So good stuff there. And then we got our King Tigers and other World War II familiar vehicles there. So, but a big chunk of that for everything in the box and beyond. So obviously, if you already have some of the World War II tanks for the various factions, the more late war ones, you're going to be a-okay with jumping in on some of the what this game still includes too. But obviously, for now, you need to get into the game with the starter box until they release some of the individual unit boxes. But that is just a quick look here, guys. So, and again, just to kind of throw the back at you here so you can see kind of everything you're getting. So Clash of Steel. So this one is Operation Unthinkable, Germans versus Brits. So again, you get all that goodness that you see lovingly painted up here. Again, we're going to be more focused on the Germans for our side, but the Brits do get, I think, a little bit more in the sense of not just, I think, like one more tank, but they get 2 of sort of their super heavy tanks, and then they get the Centurions and the Comets as well. So really like 3 pretty cool things there, and really like 2 that are essentially post-war slash well, this in this case I don't think ever really made it into combat. This one obviously did post-war and had a great history, but in that sense, like the Brits kind of get a little bit more, whereas the Germans really, you get all this stuff in Flames of War for sure. This obviously never really saw combat, but breakdown of everything you get here. So a mouse, 2 King Tigers, 2 Tigers, 3 Panzers, 4 70s. Certainly plenty of firepower to deal with the Brits, but they do get 4 Centurion 1s, 2 Tortoises, and 3 Comets. So that's 4, 7, 9, and then what do we got here? 3, 5, 7, 8 tanks. Yep. So, and again, all that stuff that we kind of just took a quick gander through. So this box, as you saw from opening, just insanely packed full of stuff. So this will give you plenty of fight to initially dip into the game. So let us know, guys, if you picked one up at the con, if you were there, or if you've already gotten one through other channels, and what you think so far. I think this is worthwhile to sort of play sort of a continuation of World War II, and if you've had any fun with it so far. So we're eager to get some of this stuff built, and then get some test games up and kind of more dive into the actual rule system for it as well. But it should be, I think, largely familiar, given that's the seemingly, at least so far, very similar setup to like Flames of War, Team Yankee, and stuff like that. So hope you enjoyed, guys. We'll have more coming for you soon. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.